To follow up on my other real estate video, I thought I'd make this video so you would know how they control where you live. And just for your edification, the view looking north is of the Jemez. Well, actually not the Jemez Mountain. Well, maybe Jemez. No, I don't. Anyway, you're looking northwest towards Los Alamos. So to follow up on my video, how they control the real estate market, it's so simple. And I know I've been controlled this way. They simply inform you if you are interested in a property and they don't want you to live there, and by they I mean the Brotherhood, they simply tell you that somebody's already put an offer on the place and it's been accepted. And I think legally they are obligated, well, no, and once the offer's accepted, they aren't obligated to tell the seller that you're interested. But whether or not the seller has accepted an offer, they will tell you that one has been accepted and that the property is no longer available. And this has happened to me on 2 occasions, including the house where I am now. And the house where I am now, I bought it in August of 2003. And what happened was, this is a prototypical way they operate. I had looked at one house and they told me an offer had been accepted on it. And so one day, and of course back then the internet wasn't, quite what it is today, and people still advertised a lot in the paper. And especially for sale by owners and stuff. So usually I got the paper, of course, on Sunday morning and scanned the real estate section. I was living here in Albuquerque in a small apartment until I found a home I wanted to buy. And on that particular day, I didn't get the paper I didn't look at the real estate section until Monday. And I saw this for sale by owner here in Placitas, and I was on the very low end of the price points here in Placitas. Most of the homes were $300,000 and up, and I couldn't afford that. I really didn't want to spend more than, say, $225,000. This other house I put an offer in on, I think it was like $190,000. It was perfect. But that was the house they told me was already sold. So I see this FSBO, for sale by owner, as they're called. And I thought, and it was $260,000. And I thought, oh goodness, it's already gone. It's under $300,000, blah, blah, blah. So I called and I spoke with the owner and I said, have you had an offer on the property? Now let me also go back and say, this was when you could buy a house. Remember, it was 0% down and no docs and all that stuff. Remember when they were doing that in 2003? And I've had real estate licenses in 3 states, New York, Indiana, and New Mexico. And that was never the conventional wisdom, was always 10% down, because the bankers wanted you to have a vested interest in keeping your property up and keeping it looking nice, so on and so forth. And that's, and plus the bank wanted their money down on it. So when they started doing this no-doc loans and 0% down, I was like, what? I didn't know it was New World Order. I just couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought it was strange. But I couldn't, because I didn't know the particulars, I couldn't put my finger on why it was, so unusual and so strange. And basically it was just a way to get people into homes that they couldn't afford so that they would have to declare bankruptcy and all that garbage. And so back to I called the owner on a Monday evening, and I thought the house would be gone already because homes were selling like hotcakes. And I said, have you had an offer on the house? And he said, no, I haven't. And I was taken aback. I thought that was unusual given the price point of the home. And I said, you haven't? And he said, no. And I said, well, I'd like to look at it as soon as possible. And he said, well, you can come see it tomorrow after I get off work. And I thought, perfect. So, of course, that would be on a Tuesday. I came up here, looked at the house, and I loved it. The colors were my favorite colors. They were all earth tones. The layout was perfect. Everything was perfect about the house for me. And I said, well, consider, and it was a little above what I wanted to spend. Well, a lot above what I wanted to spend. But I said, let's draw up the papers. I want this house, and I don't want anybody to come in and buy it out from under me. Now, what I didn't know at the time, and this fella was a young Mormon guy. He was like about 32, 33, something like that. And I said, why are you selling the house? Because he told me they'd only lived there. Remember, this is like late July, very late July. And he said they had moved in February, he and his wife, and in an effort to save their marriage. And soon thereafter, his wife came out of her closet and took up with some erotic dancer. That was the story he gave me. And I believe it was true because he clearly, from the mail that came to the house that wasn't forwarded, he had at one time been married. But from the looks at the house, I don't know if they ever lived there together because it wasn't really decorated. You know, it was just like a couch. No pictures were put up anywhere. And then I find out later, I came across some documents. I think they'd been in the house since the September of 2002 instead of February of 2003. But that's immaterial. But I'm getting to my point is this house they had saved for a, quote, Christian to buy. And the reason being some of the things in the house were not done properly. For example, my south-facing windows have never been properly flashed, meaning the rain gets in beneath the windows. And I can see there's been some damage there. And then one or two of the windows, the seal was broken on the thermopane, and water was getting in between the windows. Now, mind you, this is a new house, new windows. And I know this for a fact that this is contrived. This is the third home I know of. My mother's house and another guy's house in Placitas. He was not part of the Brotherhood. His windows had not been flashed. And then mine. So that's 3 people. And then one time driving around Placitas several years ago, I think this house, I don't think it was occupied, but clearly they had done the same thing to that homeowner, and that homeowner had moved out because the house looked empty, and lo and behold, you could tell from the stucco around the windows that they had recently been flashed. Meaning that when the home was built, the windows weren't flashed. And why they do this as a way to screw up your house, I don't know. Just to make you spend money, I guess, because that's the whole game to them, is to make you go broke and be homeless. So basically that's what they do. They have homes that there are things wrong with them that they hold back. That's why this house, even being as low priced as it, or inexpensive compared to the other homes, probably somebody had called. But they knew that I would be calling on that house because they watch what you do. They watch your phone records. They know everything you do, people. Get that through your heads. That's why finally they got these GPS systems in your phones and in your cars, so they know where you are at any given moment. Do you get that? Because that's a fact. So that's how they control who lives where. And not all, but most of the real estate agents are of the sisterhood. And and I know that because I've worked with them, and I went to real estate school with them, and I could tell you stories, but I won't. I mean, not stories, but bizarre things that happened at these places. So that's how they steer where they want you to live. They either tell you that the property is available or it's not. Now, can you get around that by buying a for sale by owner? Maybe. If you can find a seller who is not secret society, perhaps you can get around that and find a good house. In addition, and then they'll play little games. They'll make your house unlivable. For example, I can't remember if it was a video where I found it. This was years ago. But this old bungalow that this couple had lived in, the bungalow was fully paid for. But of course, the house was so old and it had never been well insulated. So they had the guy come out from one of these foam insulation companies and give him a quote on the insulation. Because they thought, great, you know, we can live here forever. We're all paid off. We can just get this foam insulation and keep our heating bills, you know, keep the house decently warm, and we'll be okay financially. Whatever they inserted as the foam in that house, and there again, this is trickery of the brotherhood, the foam had an odor in it that made the house unbearable to live in. Now, you know they foam these houses all the time. They know what they use and the recipe for what they use. And so, but oh, here's a house that's fully paid off that this couple wants to live in until they die, and this company screws it up for them. This is what they do. And they do this on a huge scale. And there's nothing you can do about it. You can pray. And God can get you, you know, He can put you in a house, you know, that where you want to live, where He wants you to live. Why I stay here? I figure God has me here for a reason. And like I've said in other videos, for me to move, like I said, they control everything. Although God really controls everything, but you know, I love it here. I have a great view. And where I would live, because I'm a single female, it would be the same thing. So I put up with it knowing that it would simply be a different cast of characters if I moved out of here. And I like it here. And, you know, who knows? But I'm just, you know, following God's plan and letting Him determine what happens. So that's all for now. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understand what I'm trying to convey to you. And if not, leave a comment down in the comment section and I'll answer it for you. So have a good week. I'm going to be coming up with more videos. What's in a name is my next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.